galaxy is burning. Brother fights brother, and treason splits the Imperium of man. This is the Age of Darkness. Welcome to the Remembrancers retreat, coming to you from within the depths of the Vengeful Spirit.
Another episode of the Remembrancers Retreat, a Warhammer 30k Horus Heresy podcast. My name is Jesse. I'm here tonight with Michael.
Hey.
And our good friend from Hampton Roads 30k. You all might know him. He is just a swell dude. Runs a lot of events at the Williamsburg Muster and also at Nova. Mr. Ben Marsh, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jesse. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate y'all.
Glad to have you here. So tonight's pretty free form, but it's a new year. There are new events coming out. Ben, you want to go ahead and jump right into it and talk about the Williamsburg Muster?
Yeah, I will. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about a couple of other things if you'll oblige me.
Sounds good.
So coming up in February, the weekend of the 17th, 18th, and 19th, one of the local gaming clubs called the Old Dominion Military Society, they have been putting on an event called the Williamsburg Muster for about the last 12 or so years. It's primarily a historicals-based event. So that has kind of turned off a lot of local gamers like that are more into the more modern game systems. But about somewhere around 6 years ago, I think you guys came down and started running some heresy stuff there, and that shifted over to me the year after you did it. And it's kind of grown from there, where now Heresy is one of their flagship events. It's certainly the most well attended. Where last year I think we had, we were set up to run 32 players, but I think we ended up, because of a day of cancellations, about 27. But we're running another 32-man event this year as well, and spots are filling up ridiculously fast. I think I've got 27 signed up already and paid. So
wow.
We only have a couple of spaces left as of this recording.
Push this one out quick then.
Look, man, I got business to take care of. I can't wait until the day of to try to get people to come roll dice. It's hard to get people to commit to having fun. It's crazy. But it's definitely grown over the last few years, and it has been a really good experience, not only just for me, but for my local gaming group. And we've been extremely fortunate to have the support of the Richmond crew, and it's expanded from there. Like, we've got people that regularly come down from Pennsylvania, Northern Virginia, and Maryland just to come play at these events, because that's how tight knit and great the community is. Very supporting of one another. So, like I said, that's going on the weekend of the 17th, 18th, and 19th of February. The cost for the narrative event is $30. It does include the entry into the 3-day convention, and part of that goes to help me with prize support. And we've got some sponsorships this year from Baron of Dice, KR Multicase, and Death Ray Designs. So some pretty solid prize support, and maybe some other stuff that I don't even know what it is yet, because some people are donating stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's you guys have been great with your support, and you've kind of seen how I run it. But it's a 3-game narrative event over the course of basically a long game day. You definitely get your money's worth. We start, about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we go until right around 6:30, 7 o'clock, with some breaks in the middle for lunch and whatnot. But it's very I tell people like this event is going to be open to someone who just cracked open their starter box, and got everything built, just a month ago, and people who have been playing for the last decade. Like I want skill levels from both ends of the spectrum. Like expect the missions to be a little weird, nothing that's too crazy, but a little weird, not necessarily fair. Like things can kind of go wonky just at a moment's notice, and that's the way I want it. Like everyone should feel like this is going to be something different, a little bit special, with a hard emphasis on having a good time, connecting with the community, getting to know one another. That's just how I run all of my events, and that's how I will continue to run all of my events. That's just like my core guiding principle when it comes to playing with little plastic army men.
Oh yeah. A few times I've been there. It's been a great time. It's just camaraderie all the way down.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite pictures that I still throw up as my profile picture from time to time is a picture of like me and like 6 of the guys from the event just all crammed into my van. In fact, I want to say that, Michael, you're in that picture.
I think I might be. Yeah.
I was like, all right, we're going on a cookout run. Everyone into the Honda Odyssey.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, food, that's a thing. I should get some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're new to the place and don't know anybody, when lunchtime comes around and everybody starts carpooling, you get to know people.
It is true. And if you're one of the people that is taking the trek from up north, Cookout is usually the place that we go, and boy, are you in for a treat there. It's like southern,
I know what you mean.
Fucking southern fried Nurgle's rot. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, they also the place our venue is the Clarion Hotel and Conference Center, and they recently got new ownership of the bar and grill there, and it is infinitely better than it used to be. We got to royally put it through its paces this past October at Call to Arms. I feel kind of bad for them because like Friday night or like Friday during the day, like we're testing the food and we're like, wow, this is actually really good. Prices are good. They got some good specials, and we're like, hey, just so you know. Tomorrow's going to get wild. Like, oh yeah, no, it shouldn't be too bad. No, it actually will. I don't think you understand what 35 like hungry neckbeards can do to a place like in a very short period of time. So just be prepared. There's a song that I would like to play for you. It's from Lion King. Just be prepared. It's going to get a little nuts. So, that's almost exactly how I put it. That wasn't me like hyping it up for being on a recording. No, it's going to get really weird tomorrow. Like, just be prepared for an influx of hungry people on a tight timeline. Oh, no worries, sugar. We got it. All right. 12 hours later. Anarchy. Absolute anarchy. That poor bartender looked like she had been it was like the D-Day invasion. Like she was like
just the one bartender.
The one during the lunch hour rush.
Oh no.
And she was like, what the fuck? What are all these people? Apparently the shift beforehand did not tell the shift that followed, and we're oh, come on. Now they got more people on. Like they rallied and everything got taken care of, and the food was really good and the price was good, but still it was just that one little moment. Like that poor girl, oh my gosh. Just absolutely astounded, but it went well, and they will never make that mistake again. But yeah, no, ODMS has been really good to us, and letting me kind of have creative control of how I want to run my event. And they just it's nice because they're all much older guys. I mean, they're all late 50s, 60s, and I just don't think they understand the terminology I use, and they're just like, oh, he must know what he's talking about. So I just do what I do, and people start walking through their front door, and they're like, oh, you guys must be here for Heresy because you are under 45.
Right this way.
Yeah, except for that one guy that we play with who's older than that, and he gets confused, and we just have to kind of cart him up to our 30 30K tables. It works out.
Yeah.
But they've done right by us, and they're always super appreciative of the support that we give them, and they give us a home to get to play some Heresy, and that's been really good to keep the community kind of tethered together. Give us a home base outside of Nova every year. I think it was been very helpful over the last couple years before Second Ed came out. And now that Second Ed is out, like people are just looking for an excuse to go out and try new things and meet new people and really get back into playing in a convention format. So that's been really good. So that's in February. From that, there looks like there's some opportunities over the spring and summer that they're still in the planning phases, but there's a couple of other smaller local conventions, and even got asked by the team up at Historicon up in Pennsylvania to run some Heresy stuff up there. That seems really odd too. It's like, well, this is definitely a historicals gaming event, but even their old guard is like, yeah, it's nice to have some young blood in here too. Like maybe on their way to the Heresy tables, they can look at our Napoleonics. That would be nice. Most important thing is just getting new people in there, and they'll figure out what happens after that. So
that's true.
That's a good opportunity that we're looking on, and of course, the Nova Open in September is kind of our mecca.
Oh yeah,
and everyone here in the recording tonight has got a real hand in making that happen. And like everything that I do, even if it's for myself, like I've got that in my mind. Like, all right, how is this going to make that job either harder or easier? Hopefully easier.
You can only hope.
We can really only hope. But and then of course, Call to Arms in October of this year is another local convention, much like the Muster, but run by myself and a couple of my colleagues down here in Hampton Roads. Much more emphasis on Heresy and some of the more modern game systems, Age of Sigmar, Bolt Action, stuff like that. All of that to say that like this year has a lot of opportunity for some really good gaming events, a lot of really good opportunities to kind of keep Heresy at the forefront, keep it growing, keep the community like interacting with each other. Just I'm excited for it. Really, like as exhausting and like tiring as it can be at times, like there's a lot of good opportunity this year, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Down in Hampton Roads, you guys have a monthly or weekly Heresy night?
Yeah, we so back in was it probably back in August, we started because to coincide with the release of the new edition, we started our Slow Grow League every Thursday night at one of the local game stores, Tower of Games in Virginia Beach. We kind of chose that as our hangout spot just because it was central to a lot of the players here locally. We jump around to some of the others like Atlantis Games and Comics, who's been a big supporter of us. And sometimes we just do it at someone's house if it's too busy somewhere. But we started doing that back in July or August. Start at 500 points and then every month adding another 250. We have hit the 2,500 point mark for January, and we're about to finish that out. And then February we will start fresh with a new escalation league with the intended goal of having 2,500 points of a new army built, painted, ready to go by the time Nova hits. And that has worked really well for us. We have been able to grow our local community pretty comfortably. Our community here is mostly people in their late 20s, mid 30s, somewhere around there. We got a couple of older and a couple younger, but everyone's got weird they've got jobs, they've got families. Everyone's schedule is absolutely fuckered all the time.
Absolutely. Feel that.
But what I have found, and what I would urge everyone who's listening to do, if you want to get people coming out and playing more often, like just make that time sacred and just be visible. Go out to your local game stores, just be out there, answer questions, roll dice, and show people that you're having fun. And naturally, people will want to wonder what that is if they're not familiar with it. And they're going to want to be a part of it because you're showing them tangibly, this is what we do. This is the kind of community that we build, and that has worked out very well for us. So we're going to keep doing that because why mess with marketing brilliance?
That's fair. I know down in Richmond, and I think Michael and Jared can talk to about it, on third Thursdays down at Battlegrounds RVA. Richmond has our own Heresy night. I think next week we're wrapping up our slow grow campaign that started right after Nova. And it's 2,500 points, if I recall correctly.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
And that'll be the conclusion of that slow grow campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We have other things in the works, so expect to hear about that shortly.
Yep. I think our plan is a narrative campaign for the summertime.
Yep. Narrative campaign with the plan to end about with Nova, and then start up another one after that.
That's right. New slow grow campaign after Nova, and the cycle will hopefully go perpetually until forever. Plastic Army Men forever for 100 years. So we're excited about that, and got a few other Saturday games we're hoping to plan here in the future as well for big events for people to come all over. More details to follow. We're settling in the dates right now, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
As every time I have this idea that I'm going to do some really expansive, awesome narrative campaign, I get about I put about 5 or 6 hours into it, and then I realize who I am. The fact that that's just never going to work with the way that my brain works. I was I'm not a good enough writer to make this stick, and nor do I have the follow through. Not when I'm having to wrangle all of the cats that are gamers. Trying to get them to be coordinated and come to be at the same spot at the same time every week.
It's surprisingly hard to even at an event just to make sure people get to the right table.
Yeah.
Weirdly so, yes. One of our locals, Ed, he is a master of crafting stuff. I am certain that he just goes to the junkyard, takes a handful of crap, and is like, I'm going to turn this into an army. But he came to me a couple years ago and made me a bunch of these 12-inch circles with table numbers on them, big bright yellow panels with big black letters on them. They're extremely useful. But even then, every time I've put them on the tables and tell people where they are, it astounds me still that people play Heresy and they don't know Roman numerals. I'm like, how do you play this game and not know what Roman numerals are?
The V and I's on the shoulder pad look really nice. It's just
depends on which direction you're looking at them from.
Yeah. Well, so what do you play? Oh, I'm in the Vi Legion. The Vi Legion. Yeah. I think they're wolves or something. I don't know, but they're Vi. Oh my god.
Well, from our own experience at Nova, we'll know this year we'll definitely have table numbers.
Yes, definitely,
and a bullhorn.
So I guess the question is, will those table numbers be Arabic numerals or Roman numerals?
I think we put them in kanji and really just fuck everyone up.
Put them in Roman numerals on the top, and then in parentheses, you have your Arabic numeral.
Or we could just have a bunch of dots. Count the dots.
It'll be great. I think I really like how the team's coming together over this. I'm really looking forward to the response.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But talking more about the community, for yourself, Ben, how expanded has your community grown over the past year with the new edition?
So that's not it would be nice to be able to say like, oh, we doubled. It doesn't quite work that way. Like I said, everyone's schedule and their responsibilities have changed. But yeah, I would say that our core group, the people who play regularly together, that's probably jumped up probably 50%, that's really positive in and of itself. But the amount of people that we have like jumping in and out, just even a game here and there, that's grown probably another 15, 20 people. And even a lot of them are ninth edition converts. Again, going back to what I said earlier, they're seeing us out there being loud and boisterous and having fun in public. And inevitably they want to just see what that's about. And then, I mean, a lot of our guys, I am not one of them, but we have a lot of really great hobbyists who have really well painted shit, and people want to see it because it's like, oh, that's similar to what I'm playing in ninth edition, but I've not seen that particular model before. I've seen a whole lot of these people got in during 8th or 9th ed. So a lot of the models that we're putting on the table, they just have never seen. They don't know anything. Like, they look similar, but they're not the same. And
so
once
that's kind of how I started.
Yeah. Well, once they start seeing how we're playing, and we explain how certain rules interactions work, and it almost always goes the same way. They're like, wow, so you have rules that are universal that everyone knows just what they are. I'm like, yeah, that they had those before, and then they changed it. Like, oh, so I don't have to learn 5 different versions of Feel No Pain? No, please, brother, come over to our side.
I don't know. We maybe have like 2 or 3 types of Feel No Pain now.
Yeah, we got a couple damage mitigations going on.
I mean, we do, but a little bit different.
I do think we're going to see more of that, though. People kind of fed up with 9th and maybe 10th, whenever that comes out, coming over to test the waters, so to speak.
Yeah, because I think you're going to see both. I think you're going to see people who, this may speak to Michael more so than the other two, but it's like 5th edition D&D is numerically their most popular game system that they have ever made. I mean, there's no denying it; the numbers do not lie. But it is a very simplified and streamlined rule set, and while it is fun, you can get people joining in on the game really quick in a matter of minutes. Once you get really acquainted with it, like Ninth Ed, in my opinion, you start yearning for something a little bit heavier hitting, a little bit more crunchy, something where the mechanics don't just feel as clunky. And that's when you start looking for other game systems that like start scratching that itch more and more. I mean, some people will never want to expand past that, and that's fine. They've got a system now available to them to use. But I think that what Heresy offers that crowd is, a really good rule set that has some. Well, they're not, I was going to say unique mechanics, but no, they've been around for decades. Just, they have been, kind of thrown to the side because people thought that they were too complex. And now they're back and everyone's seeing like, oh, wow, the community around this is fantastic. Like, I want to be a part of that. And I think that's a big part of it. Like, they're seeing that the people that are enjoying it, like the community around it has really, congealed, and has made it, it made it a point that, all right, this game is going to play well with one another. we're not going to try to be, we're not going to try to big dick this. We're just trying to have a good time. We're trying to keep things, relatively thematic. We're going to, we want to explore a more in-depth rule set, a deeper narrative, and we want to have good people to enjoy it with. I think that's been very important and a keystone to our success overall.
Also, so far at least, knock on wood, the other thing we have over 9th edition is stability. We don't have a new rule set every 3 months.
It's still early though, and things are still things can still shift.
But also, if we were getting updates, as often as Ninth was getting, we would have had 2 or 3 by now. So, for what that's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for
Please
sure.
God, no.
'Cause, man, like I said, I moved to Heresy, oh boy, 8-9 years ago?
2015. Yeah.
That sounds right.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
And looking at 40K now, and like, I get it. A lot of people enjoy it. It's popular for sure. But my poor brain, my poor 30-plus-year-old brain could not handle the constant shift of the points. And then suddenly...
They can't either.
Space Marines get -1 AP. Now they don't anymore. It's like, what? It's like, I don't understand. Now all the war gear apparently is free now, too, for a lot of things.
For some things, but not all things.
Right. It's like, I barely have enough time to keep track with Heresy. I could not keep track with the constant flux of changes on Ninth.
It is
but
weird.
Good luck to those people who do. I'm sure it's enjoyable. Models are still great.
It's a fun enough game. Like I ended up playing a big game of it on New Year's Day. So some other friends, like they really wanted me to come out there, and there's this whole story behind it. But I did, and we had a really good time. I enjoyed it, but it's just it just scratches a different itch, and it doesn't scratch it well enough for my kind of gaming now.
That's fair.
So I have moved on, and I know that about my gaming preferences.
Yeah, and Heresy 2.0 has been pretty solid.
Overall, yeah, I would say so. It's I want this to be supported, and I want it to continue. It is a fantastic rule set. It's got some weirdness in there, but all complicated rule sets with tons and tons of different interactions and units, etc. do. None of them are super smooth. You have to kind of give each other some grace and work through problems and just kind of. Okay, if it doesn't work out, you just dice off for it and you move on. It's never going to be airtight.
I look at the 9th edition, the change list, and it looks like a MMO change log. It's like, good God.
Well,
it's wild.
It does look exactly like that. That's actually a really good way of putting it as I'm sitting here waiting to raid tonight.
Speaking of which, I know. I want to make sure you got plenty of time.
Yeah, I'll jump off here in a second, but that's a really good point. It is interesting to me because what they're doing now is what a lot of us 40K players had been begging for ages. Like I remember jumping in at the tail end of 4th Ed and playing through all of 5th Ed, and that was kind of my heyday of 40K proper, 5th and 6th Ed, and like. Dark Eldar hadn't had a codex upgrade in like 14 years. Like people were still using it was like a black and white book on it looked like it would come from like the war.
Yeah.
Like it was just like old parchment. Like there were blood stains on it from where people had to write that shit out with a quill. Like it was
probably wasn't much of an FAQ either.
There was a very little of an FAQ. Like every once in a while they'd put some sort of clarification in a white dwarf, but they would not put that shit online. So now they're doing what we asked them to do for ages and ages, and that's constant support, and changes and keeping it, trying to keep balance for whatever that's worth, trying to clarify rules interactions. I don't know that they always do a good job of it. It seems like some of these releases, the balance updates and whatnot, just seem like they don't do half measures very well. Like, oh, this thing is overpowered. Let's absolutely neuter it into the ground where it is no longer usable ever again. Oh, this thing is underpowered. The average guardsman now has a Death Strike missile in his pocket. Like he can just throw it whenever he wants and blow up whatever he wants at a moment's notice. It's fine. So no half measures. Just everything is either awesome or terrible all the time. But with that, I do have to jump off. But gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure, and I will talk to you very soon.
It always is.
Yep. Thanks, Ben, and take care.
Have a good evening. Good luck.
So we're going to take a quick break. If people want to still hang around and talk some more.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Once again, thanks for listening to the Remembrancers Retreat, If you enjoy our program, be sure to go to Facebook and Instagram at RR30K Podcast. You can also go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. You can join our Discord community. The link is in the show notes. If you'd like to support our program, be sure to go to patreon.com and become a member today. And as always, we'd like to thank all of our patrons, starting with our Legion Praetors, Alex Self, Captain Sasquatch, Chap Lanissar, Chris Mack, Gardner.Tree of Woe, Joe from Music City Heresy, Luke Rizzuto, Matthew Boyce, Mr. Baldwick, Nick Quenga, Rena the Floof, Sar Luther, Variance Hammer, and Zachary Thompson. Our Legion Centurions, Aaron Maynard, Andrew N., Dave Jones, Duncan, Gorecrow, Life Subaquatic, M. Tanzer, Matthew Andriasio, Nick Hilda, Richard Bork, Scott LeMay, The Zoy, and Winter. And finally, our Legion Sergeants, Aircraft Terrier, Wolfarius, Dale Jones, Emily O'Hare, Eric Dacus, Garrett Lowe, Jay DeSales, John, Jonathan Crane, Carl, Noah Atkins, at Fulsidax Monstrosa, and Travis Smith. Once again, we thank all of you for your support. And finally, we'd like to thank GoblinsHut.com, your place for dirty down special effects, paint, and hobby supplies. Right now, if you become a patron, you can get a discount to GoblinsHut.com. You'll get a special promo code for you to use there to save on dirty down rust, moss, and verdigris special effects paint, as well as Klinsky Sable brush sets. Once again, that's GoblinsHut.com. So, what do y'all want to talk about now?
Every time we record, I feel like the picture behind me is kind of haunted. And
it's a little bit haunting for sure, especially now that we're actually seeing each other's faces and stuff.
It's part of the charm.
It's stealing your soul, so just FYI.
Yeah. Well, if it can find it, it can have it.
Be ready for that.
I'm currently flanked by the two Imperial Fist players in our group here. So what do the Imperial Fist players want to talk about?
Honestly, this weekend, I finally got around to, after 5 years, I finally painted my Adeptus Titanicus maniple.
I'm proud of you.
I told you need to let the glue set.
Not that long.
Yes, for 5 years.
You don't want to rush things.
Yeah. Well, at the end, I decided just get it done. Mm-hmm. Don't worry too much about finding the perfect scheme. Just get it done. And I now have five Titans painted.
I mean, also Gryphonicus has like the easiest scheme.
I don't know about that. You still got yellow, and he didn't use contrast either.
What'd you use, Averland?
Yeah,
Averland's fine.
You say that. When's the last time you used it?
I use it on my Middenheim guys.
Why?
Because before I discovered contrast, and then I switched.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's good to, because you. It's just weird. I kind of considered that you always had a maniple, and then you just show up to my house one day. It's like, I'm going to paint these. I'm like, what? It's like, I don't have a Titan Legion. It's like, what? Even I do, and I don't even play the game as much as I should.
To be fair, I have had one. Just didn't have it painted. But yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. I'm rereading the rulebook now, and hopefully I'll roll up to your house at some point, and we'll have a walk.
Do you have the Loyalist
Sounds
Legions book? Okay.
Yes.
Because that's going to be way more complete than any other thing.
So I'm pretty annoyed about that, because since I'm playing Gryphonicus, most of what I need is in this book. Plus a little bit of errata.
How much update did the Loyalists get for Gryphonicus in the Loyalist book, I should say?
Gryphonicus, it was a couple of word changes to change a couple things with how their special rules work. Mm-hmm. Big ones are they can, at least by my reading, exchange any number of warhounds or warlords in a maniple for reavers instead of just one. And more importantly, any of their reavers can take the Gryphonicus reaver upgrades, not just ones that you've swapped out.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess there's just generally more options in there anyway.
Yeah. The Loyalist book does also have a bunch more war gear, which I'm definitely planning on making use of.
Definitely. That's cool. I managed to get tickets to Adepticon Saturday.
Yes.
I was painful, but it felt pretty comfortable being a Nova open customer as well. Ooh, sometimes those ticket systems it just gets a little painful for them. You thought it was like a Taylor Swift concert, the way that thing was bogged down. It was 40 minutes before I got my basic admission ticket. I was like, good God. Then I got really worried because I wasn't thinking straight because, I'd been sitting in front of staring at a screen rolling for 40 minutes. Then once I got my tickets, I was like, and now let me go add Kara to my group. And it was the same thing. I was like, oh shit, I didn't buy anything. I hope it's still on my cart. It was all in my cart still, thankfully. But I was like, oh, I made a terrible, terrible mistake here. I should have grabbed my stuff first. But but it worked out, and I'm excited because this will be my first time at Adepticon. And if you see me around, I'll try to be wearing my podcast shirts. Come say hi. Maybe I'll stuff my pockets full of chocolate or stickers or something, and I'll hand it out to listeners. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe more stickers than chocolate. I don't know.
Those gaming calls get a little warm. You may not want chocolate in the pockets.
But I'm excited. This will be my first time to Adepticon. It will be my second time purchasing an admission ticket to Adepticon. So we'll see what happens.
Jesse, what you can do is when the chocolate melts in your pocket, stick your hand in there and then touch other people's models.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over real well. They'll remember me for sure. It's the chocolate finger guy. Oh, God. Anyway.
Fudgy fingers.
Man.
In similar news, I did register for the muster.
Yes.
So I'm set to head to that.
When is that?
Yeah, the Heresy event is on the 18th, but the convention is, I believe, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Or rather, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, excuse me.
Heresy is on the 18th.
Yeah, it's Saturday. Hurry up, tickets are selling fast. They might be all sold out by the time people hear this episode, but I'll try to push it. I'll try to push it through. But let's see. Do I got anything else here?
I also painted up some Huskarls, which I will probably take to that event, and hopefully they'll serve me well.
Yeah, I need to start the second edition plastic backlog. I really need to start breaking out and doing some stuff. I mostly finished up a Vigilator finally. Now I can join the Sniper Asshole Brigade of just pinging off of twos and rending.
Vigilators have always been cool.
Now they're cooler.
Now they actually do something along with being cool.
And I just love consoles in general now. The fact that they gave them all relentless is just hilarious, and I'm all about it.
There aren't many consoles I don't want in some capacity.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be a jerk and do a double Moritat at some point. Double plasma Moritat. Be hilarious. Let's see. What else I get done? Let's see. Yeah, I need to figure out. I'm got to figure out what my new units are going to be, because I got a whole bunch of the Mark VI. I think I finally. So in first edition, most of my stuff was mechanized tanks, and just the way transports worked, I didn't have a lot of space for a lot of tacticals, especially because I was running rhinos and stuff. But now infantry is pretty darn good. So I think I'll finally expand and actually make more than a single 20-man squadron of infantry now.
A couple more 20-man squads of infantry will complement your 10-man squads of infantry pretty well, I think.
Yep, especially if I do the 10-mans to veterans.
Yep.
I think.
Which, speaking of which, you and I, we had a game. It was New Year's Day, I believe. Yep.
Yeah.
Which I found that the Sikaran Arcus is an extremely useful anti-dread vehicle. Again, it's a vehicle, so you got to keep it safe. But when it's dropping 5 strength 8 AP2 rockets at stuff, it works out pretty darn well. I'm definitely considering upgrading to a squadron of 2 of those in the future.
I was definitely not expecting the AP2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That was a really good game.
it was, like I said, we played for full 6 turns, and it still ended up 1-1.
Yep. Perfect tie.
Mm-hmm. Yep, tied on secondaries.
Yep.
Oh, man. What you, Jared? Got any plans lately?
I am slowly working my way through making kind of 1.5 fantasy armies.
Okay.
That not spatchcocking, slap chopping method.
Yeah. Spatchcock the models. Do not spatchcock the models.
Bad idea.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Huge waste of money. Tried that a dozen times.
Done that before.
Bad move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great for poultry, not for models.
Well, if you're making casualties, maybe.
Fair. That's a good point.
I'm normally a batch painter of 20 or 30 guys at a go, but being able to just like knock one dude out in like 10 minutes is nice. Kind of a quality of life improvement.
Yeah, it feels good.
So I'm going through some great swords. I did some 20-foot knights. Did some mounted knights. Did a lady on a dragon. It's all good times.
Yeah. Getting ready for Old World.
Yeah. When that drops, I'm going to have like several fully painted armies.
Yeah. I'm going to lose all my friends when Old World comes out.
Yeah.
You're going to join us and you're going to play
I could.
something. I'll come up with an army for you, Jesse.
We'll see. I don't know. I saw some pretty cool Empire stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess it was Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah.
That were painted up real grim dark on Warhammer Community. And that, not going to lie, that compelled me a bit.
They're going to get new models and they're going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is you're going to need 1 million of them.
Oh. Kara's not going to like that.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
It's more of just it's more about just the quantity of stuff.
Yeah.
In my docile than
and
necessarily where I get it from.
Honestly, like with what Ben was talking about a little bit ago, God forbid, Old World comes back and gets a 9th edition 40K treatment, or it's just getting squirrely with the rules, or the worst stuff that people complain about Age of Sigmar with, the balance and sort of the flighty rules and just being all over the place. Imperfect though it might be, Warhammer Armies Project still exists. You can play whatever edition of fantasy you want, and the rules and the info are out there, and you can just run with it.
Yeah, there's plenty of support for them around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll see where that takes me.
It's gonna take you.
We'll see.
When Old World shows up, I'll be asking, "Where's the skirmish system?"
We'll see how it scales.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of assuming it's going to be kind of like how they did Heresy, where it still maintains some older edition stuff, but also puts a little twist on it. Would be my guess.
That's a fair point. If I can start with like a 500-point army, something reasonable, and work my way up, that I could do. But coming straight into painting 100 models, I know me. That's not.
I don't think you'll be stuck doing that.
No,
if you want to get into it, I doubt. Just with how they've been selling stuff lately, it seems like the box sets and the
I do know old fantasy was a bit like that.
Yes.
Yeah, paint your 1,000 miniatures and then you can play a game.
Hope it's a good list.
That's rough.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for this year. All sorts of cool stuff.
It's going to be a lot of terrain prep.
Not as much as last year, though.
For me, a bit more, honestly. Because I painted like 3,000 points of new Imperial Fist for last year, so I've got a list. I've got so many lists. I've got like a dozen lists I can play. I think I'm going to do 20 more Tactical Marines before August. But everything else is just going to be, terrain for you and Ben, and, fantasy just for myself. And I think I'm going to be in a good spot.
if you've got bandwidth, you might want to reach out to Austin and see if he needs anything for Nova.
We're that terrain. That's
Yep.
terrain. I'm printing terrain.
Yeah.
Because
he and I at least have been talking. I don't know how much he's been talking to other folks.
We're in constant contact. That's
cool.
I know exactly what he needs, and I've just last weekend got a printing enclosure for the Ender 3, so I can get that set up without the air conditioning messing it up.
Yeah.
I think I've nailed down the narrative for our local narrative campaign. Now I'm kind of rotating my focus towards the Nova campaign, which I'm also handling narrative for.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be a lot of my hobbying is figuring out how to manage that.
Better you than me.
Yeah, we'll sneak peek our plan for Nova this year. We've been talking about it where the entire Heresy section of the convention will be all intertwined for the most part.
Some of the weirder events are going to stand alone, but
Sure.
for the most part, it'll all be the same battlefield.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be good. Your decisions, your actions, your team success or failures will count towards the whole thing.
Yeah.
In more ways than just you win or you lose. We'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be great.
I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. Well, if anyone has anything else, good to hang out with you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Once again, thanks, Ben, for coming on. If you're going to go to Williamsburg Muster, I think that's Heresy at the Williamsburg Muster is the Facebook page name. I'll see if I thrown up a link on there on the show notes. And man, that's about all I had for tonight. Once again, thanks for listening. My name's Jesse. There's Michael.
Michael.
That's Michael.
Jared.
There's Jared. Have a good night, y'all, and keep those dice rolling. Bye for now.